Um, all right. So this week, I kind of want to let it free flow a little bit. I don't have like something specific to talk about, even though I did a bunch of crazy stuff last week that I could touch on if it comes up. But I want to make it mostly a thing where I help people here do whatever they're trying to do. So I know Derek, you're trying to create a sneaker line. Paco, you still trying to do the podcasting stuff? What's your next?
I still have it in my bucket list, but it's an aspiration more than anything else because I'm at 86. I need a partner that has the passion and the proficiency to be able to get a podcast going in in um, in Apple and then a video on YouTube and it's a business. You're starting a brand new
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
and
So
and all the elements of a business are involved in this thing, and you can't do it half-ass. Even with even using Chat GPT-4 or Google Notebook, you have to put time into it. And I have not found the partner yet to be able to do this. So
I
what I'm
also
doing,
think what you got to figure out first is the
wait,
revenue.
wait,
Right.
before you give me any advice, hold on a second.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I've done is I put that sort of in a semi-free situation,
Okay.
okay? And I'll take your advice down the road. But what I'm doing now is I said to myself, do you have a team presently? I say, do I have a team? No, I don't. Yes, you do. What? He said, you're the board member of an organization which you guys could look up called Soil and Soul in Delray Beach. It's been around for 7 years or more like 17 years. And Soil and Soul is an organization that is working with the immigrant population, with kids, in teaching them mindfulness, awareness, environmental awareness, and then family circles. And they have paid people to come to the family circles $500 a month. And they've been doing this for a long time. They got a foundation that gives them that money. And they train them in doing this. And then out of that group, you always get two or three that want to become trainers. And there's a second training on that. That organization is incredible because as a board member, they have made it part of the bylaws, and this was all foreign to me, that we on the board can be employees.
Oh
See,
wow.
I come from New York, where if you have enough for profit and you're a board member, you cannot make any money. It's called conflict of interest. Well, here in Florida, that doesn't apply that way. You know,
Trump changed that.
no, we have DeSantis and Trump laws here, so you could be, So I said, shit, God bless them, man.
Trump's corporation is a nonprofit. He's on the board of
So I'm working with that team in making that organization grow. And Alex Jerez, who who I don't know if you know him, Errol.
No,
Uh,
I don't think Derek knows him.
so, but working with us, and I'll end with this. Because of Alex, we were able to go and create uh, the conditions to partner with a guy who created an insurance instrument that now can insure people who have five, six, seven employees, 10 employees, and they could do it very affordable. And Alex's insurance company, Brown and Brown, is sponsoring this thing. We're going to become salespeople for selling not for profits. We already sold one, this insurance, and this way this allows the not for profit to become a money generating entity as
Well,
opposed to
that
waiting for foundations and stuff like that.
well that connects right there to your podcast. Then why don't you make the podcast connect to that? Have the kids in those community, and then you have because at the end of the day, what I noticed in the media space, even people with big followings, they complain that you don't make money on views. You gotta have sponsors or a product that's actually making you the money. And sponsors is a hard one, right? Because you need to have a lot of views before you can get sponsors. And products are hard too because you got to make a product that works that people want to buy. So the truth is the fact that you have those 3 points. You got Alex and his knowledge of business. Um, you have the nonprofit that can help you with people that are getting paid to do things. And you have this insurance thing where you can make actual cash if anybody converts from the podcast. You could create like you'll hear it all the time. Like the podcasters all have their own code in there. They read out ads and they'll have their code. Like go to cashapp.com/Miguel and get $10 off or whatever, something like that. But that's a tracking so the company knows, okay, you're sending me X amount of business every month. I'm gonna give you, money and keep doing it,
Yeah,
So
I know. I think I'm in the right track now with this team of people that I have, and I've already told them what I want to do, and they're up for it. And the other thing is that in my past, if you know, 40 years ago, my teacher went to Yonkers and he created the Greystone Foundation, of which
yes,
I
yes,
served on the board for 18 years. But the Greystone Foundations owns the Greystone Bakery, which does close to $21 million of brownies for Ben and Jerry's, which Ben and Jerry's sold about maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago to a big international company called Unilever.
oh,
Unilever
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah, yeah,
huge,
yeah.
huge, and
Yeah.
so there I learned that a not for profit can own a for profit
Yep.
as long as it owns 65% of the stocks, and that was tested in court by people with the IRS. So that's a known law. Although this model has been taught at Harvard Business School for the last 12, 13, 14, 15 years, and that is that a not-for-profit can own a for-profit, and they have to own around 65%. What we did not do at Greystone was, what does that mean? That you could own? Well, it means that if I can own, if I'm supposed by the IRS rule to own 65%, let's say 60% to make the numbers
I think it's
easy.
51. I think it's like 51.
No, 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 no. The 51 doesn't apply to this one.
Oh no.
It's not 51. You have to own 60, at least 60%.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So anyway, what that means, I have 40%, which I can sell to investors.
Investors. Yeah, yeah. They did this in the Bronx. Remember the the people that we met with the MIT people that they
Yep.
sent me to Mondragon? They did that. They made a business. I forget what it was, and they got investors, and the nonprofit owned a percentage. I don't remember the exact percent. I don't know how that ever worked out though, to be honest. Companies are hard, in general, but the overall is it sounds promising to have all the pieces, right? You got the pieces, you got the knowledge, you got people to help now. And this is what I'm seeing. Like this week, I really started leaning into like AI employees, like literally employees. Like instead of talking to a person, you're talking to the AI as an employee. So we got to hire a developer, AI. You tell the AI what to do. It writes the code and then it puts it into your list of things to check. So it's like a person, like if you told a junior developer, hey, can you work on this? And then when they're done, they're like, hey, okay, Miguel, can you check my code out? Like that. And putting it up, and it's just dropping, doing code that we didn't even do, and it's like it could do unlimited tasks. So what I would tell you, and I'm thinking like this right now, is hold on, let me just turn on my water. Give me one second.
Harold, while he's gone, what kind of business do you have again?
I don't know.
You talking to me, Paco?
No, no, I was talking to Harold. I was going while you
Oh,
were gone.
okay.
I was going to ask him what kind of business he has.
Oh, okay, okay.
who,
Go ahead,
Derek?
Derek. Tell me a little bit about your business, because he said something about sneakers.
Yeah, yeah. Tell him, Derek, about your stuff.
Yeah, so what I'm ultimately doing is creating a line of high-end like premium leather sneakers. Um, right now I do custom sneaker work with like I have my own patterns that I create with a school out in Brooklyn that I've been working closely with. So I'm able to make hand like I wouldn't say it by hand. I actually trace out, cut all the pieces and
That's
sew
my hand.
everything, glue it. It is
That's
by hand. It is by hand technically. So I'm doing that now, but I'm gonna start working with a factory to get them mass produced. So I'm trying to figure that out now.
Yeah. So
By the way, one of the features that you should have in some of your design and sneakers is something that I learned over at the. I play softball 3 times a week when my
Hmm.
you know so and it is that a lot of the old guys, and there's close to 300 guys in that particular league, and there's another 300 in another league. So this is big stuff in the state and in other states. Is that uh, for a certain age, you get rid of the shoestrings
oh yeah.
and you bring in the Velcro, because for those old guys, you you
Ah,
you get rid of
Basically, like like how young kids
yeah, my
they don't know yet, and they kind of
yeah, my
that
son
makes sense.
still want to wear those. I'm like, dude, you 11. You need to
yeah.
learn how to tie
So
your
what
shoes.
happens? What happens is it's easier to put on, it's easier to take off, but more importantly, from a marketing point of view, it prevents old people from tripping on the shoestrings, and that's how they break their hips and shit like that. So
Mm,
there is a
interesting.
benefit for the older elders. So they might that's a little feature that you may have. Um,
That's becoming a
uh,
thing though, right? Even the Kanye's and all that, there's not really laces like that on like
Well, my first one that I have that I'm trying to get made, it does have a strap, but it does have laces as well though.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, this is the thing about the ideal customer persona. Your ideal customer persona may not be certain age ranges, right?
Yeah.
And you don't really, the truth is, you don't really know that up front. Like you got to kind of push it out there and see what comes back. Because I thought my ideal customer persona was something way different than it was. But once I put it out there and I saw who actually paid,
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, my ideal customer persona is not who I thought it was.
I had this conversation with so at FIT they had a talk with they have talks with like people who are starting their own business in whatever field you're taking courses in. So they had a girl come in who started her footwear line. She's based out in Queens.
Mhm.
And she said the same thing. She said that she was designing it for sneakerheads, her line. And when she actually put it out and like what she realized is that it wasn't selling at the $200 range. When she priced it up to like 350, that's when it started to sell. And they like this is has to be marketed as like a premium good. Like this is your market is for people who are trying to buy high-end goods. It's not for the sneakerhead.
What I'm learning a lot in this effort of Stack is most of the work is in the marketing of a message that
Hmm.
connects to an audience. You don't know what that audience is in the beginning. You think you know, and that's partly what, and then there's the actual product, and then there's the offer. So what she's going through is the offer. She changed her offer. And that changed her sales because she said
Hmm.
she raised the price and it connected with the audience she was messaging.
Yeah.
You don't know that. And that's so now I'm like studying this whole game. And basically, they say when you get from zero to like any money, you just take anybody
Hmm.
that's willing to use it. But then when you get to a certain amount of people, you say, okay, who is the people that are spending the most with you? You easiest to get them, and how can you get more of them? Right? And you forget about everybody else. Of course, you don't just be like, don't use my app anymore. You still
Yeah.
have them use it, but you figure out how to write the messaging to get more of those. And
Hmm.
when you get to another level, you got to change that again, and another level, another. It keeps going like that. 100 million, even like 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, 15. It's like you got to change it all the time. So I'm like, most of the business thing is this market message connecting to the product. And then once you got the large audience, then you could try different things. So let me show you what me and my brother just did this morning, literally in like 10 minutes. Watch this. You can see the girl, the model.
yep.
All right, check this out. So I don't know if you know Printful, Derek. You know Printful? It's like it's like a website that let me see if I can pull it up actually.
Is it a website that allows you to like you send off your images to get them printed on t-shirts and stuff like that?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I
So
heard of it.
basically, I just because he's talking about working with some e-commerce place. So I
Hmm.
said, you know what? You could basically do this. So I went in here, I uploaded the image, and then you go here, you say download mockups. And then it puts it, you could create your own. I never actually did this, but you basically download a folder, and I'll show you the folder. I guess let me just show you the folder.
Yeah, send me the link of that because I have about 4 or 5 T-shirts that I want to create.
So okay, so this is like it gives you look mock-ups of people wearing it, and then we put that into AI. I'll show you the one that we put in with that girl right there. That was one we put. You get every race, every gender, whatever, different sides. So that was the girl. That's the one that I think we used. So pretty quickly, if this was a clothing line, and again, the thing with sneakers is they're just a higher cost touch point to a clothing line. You might
Hmm.
start out with t-shirts and a sneaker. I don't know. I don't know how you want to do it and what's the best way.
Probably a cap.
A hat.
Yeah.
So you could do that
So
here. Watch this. Watch this.
so so can I change the subject for a second when you finish, please?
Sure, sure, sure. Let me show him the caps.
Okay.
Hats. Okay. See, they got dad hats,
Try snapback.
snapback. Look at the different colors. Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's what's that? Um, they got different ones. And look, you pay $14.
Hmm.
So they make it, ship it, and so if you charge 35, you pay 14 up front, and then you wait for the 35 to come in. So you gotta have a bank account that they can pull the money from every time a sale is made, and then they send you the money.
And they mail it to the customer.
Yep, they mail it to the customer and everything. You never even see it. So I was actually the reason why because I was showing my son. My son was about to go and buy some shirt of somebody who basically made a printful. And I'm like, that image, you've seen it other places, right? I'm like, I can show you how to make it on printful. So now he's gonna basically make a t-shirt. He's gonna pay probably $10 when these people were trying to charge him $50 for this shirt with an
Right.
image that he knows already. Look, the see this one's 925. Look at all the different colors.
Hmm.
So yeah,
When,
that
when,
that
when you're
again,
doing
do they have
when
sneakers?
you're doing T-shirts, because I was in the T-shirt business at some point in my life. I actually bought a machine. It was like a press where you did that like the there was a stencil of the thing. You put the T-shirt on top of this iron thing, and then you brought this thing down, and you kind of steamed the image into the T-shirt. So I had a T-shirt company. Uh, the name of my company. This was like 25, 30 years ago. Was called TNT. Um, that was the logo that I used. TNT. Um, and so yeah, it's you gotta take a look at the cloth because sometimes these people will sell you a T-shirt, but the cotton is so small and so thin that the T-shirt is not gonna last. So if you're particularly going for the top market, you got to make sure that you know a little bit about fabric, so that your T-shirt is done in a stronger cotton uh, thread fabric. So that's something that you got to do, Miguel.
Yeah, so basically what I end up doing is I'll make one, send it to myself, see if I like the size, right, and everything, and then where the print is, everything, and then if I like it, I mostly use it for myself, but I did make websites where I would have the t-shirt there, and people, if somebody bought it, I made money. If not, I just paid the hosting because you could basically create like a Shopify, and Shopify has a connection with Printful. And every time it orders on Shopify, it literally comes out of Printful. It emails the people at Printful, takes the money. You literally don't have to even open the site. I actually
Yeah,
built. That's how I built Bronx Native site. Remember, I was told you that about that, Paco. That's
yeah.
basically what Bronx Natives was. And this is only $20 a month. Oh, now they raised it $30 a month. Oh wow, $40 a month unless you pay the year. Guess inflation goes everywhere. Uh, I have a website. I have a video online actually showing how you can do it. Like I basically made a store in like 15 minutes. I could find that and put it somewhere. But yeah, so basically, what I would tell you, Derek, is again, like I think we were talking about last week with the whole content and like start figuring out your messaging. Because again, I'm 2 years plus in, and I still don't know the messaging that's gonna create the most sales. I get on calls, and some people came because they want to do the pay a bill thing. I get on other calls because some people will just want to invest and borrow more money to buy Bitcoin,
Mm,
buy more, right? So I've been testing the messaging for like 8 months now, 6, 8 months. I started with pay a bill. It was too confusing. People didn't understand that. And again, yours is going to be different because it's not like they understand a sneaker, but what you're selling them on is why, the story behind this brand. That's all brands are. Brand
yeah.
Yeah.
actually
Let me
is
let me
fun.
let me share something with you. And Derek, whether you believe me or not, it's not important. Um, but Paco says anything that I say is fact checkable, including my whole TNT company. I've been designing shoes for probably 30, 40 years in my head, right? So, so for instance, what's a design that Paco has had for years and years in his head? I got to a point where I said, wow, man, I love these sneakers, man. Damn. And they're broken in. And yeah, they look a little raggedy, but man, they're my sneakers. They broken in. Now I got to get rid of them because the sole is gone. So I went to a shoemaker and I said to the shoemaker, man, can you take this shit off and put new different soles in it? He said, yeah, it's going to cost you as much. I would put the sole in as the sneakers cost. I said, go for it, dude. Let me see if you can do it. And he did it. He put new soles on a pair of old sneakers that I've had for a long time. And I said, you know what? That's a fucking opportunity. This is 20, 30 years ago. I said, if I could design a shoe that I could then shift the sole. I said, wait a minute, that could be like fashionable. I could wear different color soles, and I said, wow, whoa, I could different heights on the sole. All I have to do is clip it in, and I have a different sole with the same sneaker on the top. And then I said, wait a minute. What if I did it with the heels? The heels can clicking. I have lower heel, higher heels, depending on. So I, in my own head, designed all these things just on the sole of the shoe. Now, for instance, in sandals, when you buy a sandal and they have the straps on your right hand side, the straps go from right to left. On your left foot goes from left to right. Right now, for some older people, those straps to put in are difficult. Except that if you took the left side of the strap and you did it the same way as the right, you went from left to right, then it's easier to put on and take off. I don't know if you follow me. So, and the reason I picked shoes years ago was because I said shoes have been the same pretty much the same way, and it's boring. There's an opportunity, and I'll finish with this. There's a company called LEMS, LEMS, and so I was a marathon runner, so I
Mm,
ran 3 marathons and a lot of marathons. And your feet become a major piece of any kind of long distance running. And I read a book called Born to Run, still around, that book, and it talked about how these guys from South America, Mexico, who had tremendous endurance because they ran pretty much all day long wherever they went to, came to run marathons in the United States, and they basically blacklisted them. They ran in fucking sandals. So the guys began to do a study, and all sneakers are made so that your toes are close together on the front, and that's not natural. You if you walk barefooted, your 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 toes are open, and that's talked about in that book, Born to Run, which was written 20, 25 years ago. And I read the book and I tried to download it recently. And so I said, shit, you know. So I started looking for, and there's a whole bunch of companies out there that did all kinds of things with open shoes. But Lens is the first company, and there must be others, that buys a shoe where the front is wide enough so that your toes don't cramp. Now, Nike had known about this since the early 80s, that the design was fucking up people's feet, but they were not about to change it. I think probably Nike and some of those companies have begun to open up the front of the shoe so it has more space on it. So there are things like that. And some of those are special markets because some of the kids don't give a fuck about their toes. They just want to look at the style, you know? So I understand that. But there is a market at the high end that's more and more, even kids looking for comfort and for the health of their feet, because foot health, you know, I can go into that direction for a long time, but I'm not going to do that. But I'm excited for you, Daryl, about the fact that you're designing shoes, and I'm willing to be, you know, I'm going to charge you a fee for my advice. You could pay me a fucking dollar a year, but you got to pay me a fucking dollar. If you don't pay me my fucking dollar, you ain't getting shit from me, right? So if do we have a deal?
I got you, man. I got $1 in my pocket right now.
All right, we got a fucking deal. I'm your consultant for $1 a year. The other thing, and I'm going to land on this because Miguel has a lot of stories probably to tell about this. It's a question that I'm asking. I wonder, and maybe you've done this before, if you went to and I've had some experiences with this, and Miguel was the one that introduced me to a lot of these things. If you went to a 3D printer, I wonder how much you could improve your designing because you're creative, and some of the stuff that I'm talking about, I'm sure there are other people out there that can also come and contribute. If you use 3D printing, if that's going to help your design accelerate it, because, you know, people say timing is everything. And I've corrected them and I said, no, timing is everything. Timing is the only thing. And, you know, and you could hit this market, and obviously the Chinese are going to copy your designs and shit like that and sell them for cheaper. But if you take a market and you hold it for a year or two, you can make a shitload of money. I've landed my plane.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Oh, by the way, I've seen, so now they're making a lot. I'm starting to see more barefoot shoes being made.
Or like the whole toes, like you said.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's a different thing. So there's barefoot shoes, and then there's also the shoes that are designed where you put your toes in, and so you have you have all the mobility in your toes. So it'll prevent all those bunions and stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah, take a look at LEMS. LEMS.
LEMS. Okay.
LEMS. I've been buying shoes from them for probably 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I pay $125 for my barefoot shoes, which have no, you know, and it takes. I mean, not everybody can do this because your feet has been so fucked up with wearing the different shoes. But I've been doing this for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, or probably more. And I ran a marathon with one of those shoes. So that's a market. That's a market. But I think the market. So what my point is? My point is that market is going to escalate to the regular market, where people are going to look for shoes that are healthy to their feet, which is a marketing trick that I haven't seen that yet to some degree, except LEMS. But I think you got it, bro. I think that you could do very, very well in doing shoe designs